I'm going to be doing a top 11 video on my favorite Pokemon. And I have mentioned that I like Pokemon before because it was in my going out to lunch video. Or before video, I can't remember which one. But, yeah. So, let's get started at, last top 11 I didn't go in order. So I'm going to do that now. Starting with 11 and 1, 11 being Yveltal. Mostly because he was in one of my latest games that I've gotten. Well, recent games, really. Because I like to stick to classics. So I would prefer Pokemon from my first game that I ever played, which was Omega Ruby. And obviously I got Yveltal from Pokemon Y. And you can't get him anywhere else except for GTS or Wonder Trade. So, yeah, and Oblivion Wing just totally blew my mind. And, yeah, it was pretty amazing. Next is a tie between Donphin and Rhyhorn. Both of them are ground types, I know that. But they have that bulky figure, and I think that's pretty cool for a lot of Pokemon. At number 9, we have another tie between Gastly and Haunter, because in my first game, Omega Ruby, really. I have Alpha Sapphire, I just played Omega Ruby first. Gastly and Haunter, he was in one of my early stages of going through the storyline, and I had him forever, and I didn't realize I could evolve him into Gengar if I traded. Obviously, that was my first game, so I was a noob then. But, yeah. But, he was my, definitely my go-to, and, we would have Venoshock, we would have Toxic, and we'd have Shadow Ball, and then I think I had Parasong. Parasong, I think, was one of them. Yeah, he was the bomb. Truly was, and it was just great. So, yeah, it's a tie between those two. And number 8, we have Mewtwo. And I know he's a legendary, and he's all the way down to number 8, but I played him in Pokemon Y. And, it's weird, because all the Mega X forms for, like, Charizard and Mewtwo, their types change, but for the Ys, they don't. Ys, they stay the same. For Mewtwo, it's just staying Psychic. Charizard is still Fire Flying. But for Charizard X, it's Fire Dragon. And for Mewtwo X, Mutanite X, it's Fighting Psychic. Which is basically like Medicham. And the other one's like Reshiram. But, hey, what are you going to do? They change types, and it's pretty awesome. So, definitely would prefer the Mega forms of X over Y. But, definitely Mewtwo. Mewtwo is on number 8. At number 7, we have Shuckle. When I first caught him, Pokemon Y. I know, it's not my first game, but when I first caught him, that defense, though, I mean, it just blew my mind. I was at, like, level 20. I caught him at a level 26, I think. And he was, like, 200 defense. I'm like, this guy is flipping indestructible. I used him for a while, and bug types kind of have a lot of weaknesses, but he pulled through. He was pretty awesome. Next, we have Stoutland, and he's at number 6, for sure. The reason why is because he looks like my dog, okay, and I really like my dog. So that's the reason. Number hand, we have a legendary Groudon, including Primal form. Primal, he actually changes form. Unlike Kyogre, he just stays water type. And that darn Ice Beam. Oh, man. And Water Spout. But hey, Eruption, Lava Plume, Precipitate Blades. I don't know how to pronounce that. But, yeah, my Groudon. It was my second Pokemon that I put to level 100. My first one isn't on the top 10. I didn't like him as much, but I used him a lot because it was Sharpedo. So you kind of have to use that in Omega Ruby a lot in order to actually succeed in life. So there's that. And yeah. Next we have at number 4, another legendary, Mega Rayquaza. And just Dragon Ascent. Awesome. First time I used him against Steven, don't remember which one, Skarmory's sturdy. It's the only time that it fails is if someone has sturdy. Otherwise, it's basically an insta-kill. But, totally just crushed me when I just... and Skarmory was his first Pokemon. Now I have this big grudge against Skarmory. And Zubat. And at number 3, we have Geodude. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is the first Pokemon I ever discovered in my entire life. Yeah. Before Pikachu, really. He was at school. I just found him with a trading card. He dropped it. I was like, oh, dude, that's a cool-looking creature. And he goes, oh, that's Pokemon. It's Geodude. That was burned into my memory. Geodude. And I set my life from there on. If I would ever get a Pokemon game, first guy I would try to get was Geodude. Obviously, I didn't know about starters then. But, yeah. Try to get Geodude. And then I realized how painful Graveler is. I still evolved him into a Golem. But what are you going to do? It's too bad he had Rock Head instead of Sturdy. Second, we have Onix. Second Pokemon that I ever discovered. That's basically the only reason. Come to think of it, I don't know why, but I seem to like a lot of Rock-type or Ground-type Pokemon. I guess that's my favorite. I always thought that Dragon was really cool, but Dragon or Fairy, yeah, Rock, Ground. Come to think of it, yeah, they have a lot of cool Pokemon that are Ground and Rock types. And at numero uno, we have Steelix, including his Mega form. I found out about Onix it was the first anime episode I had ever seen in my life. And it was Pokemon. And it was... I never forgot it. I honestly, when I changed the channel, it so happened to be Pokemon, and Onix was there before Pikachu. I had no idea what that thing was. Honestly. That was probably like the 5th Pokemon I ever discovered. Was Pikachu. I'm not gonna lie. But Onix... Well, the reason why I didn't discover him first is because I never was really interested then. So I just ended up finding out some Pokemon, and then and then they were just scarred into my brain. And after Pikachu, I was just like, you know what? That's it. I quit. If that's the main Pokemon, it has to be Geodude. No. Yeah, I kind of saw why. Because he's adorable. But no, Steelix, awesome. Because he's the evolved form of Onix. The second Pokemon I ever met, or saw, really. I didn't meet him, because that'd be kind of awesome. But when I found out he had a Mega form, my life was complete. My life was 99.98% complete. The only other 2% is if I would ever be able to sit on the ceiling. That is my life goal. To sit on the ceiling. Not the roof, but the ceiling. That is my lifelong goal. And if anyone can help me accomplish that, I'll probably kill myself afterwards because I'd have nothing else to live for. So thank you for listening, and have a nice day. Probably upload another top 11. You know what? After this video, I'm going to do another top 11.